Today we'll be doing a DIY on a BMW 328i. We'll be installing the crank position sensor. Man, this thing is giving me lots of problems with this crank position sensor. So what I'm going to do is actually remove this top cover. I want air carrying box thing that holds the wires, fuse boxes. I'm basically going to take this whole cover off. Because I want to leave as much free space over there so I can be able to see down there. Alright guys, so to remove everything at the top, you got 6 bolts. These 6 bolts hold your air filter that filters the air for inside of your car. Now I'm going to remove the little relay cover box. They just have little slips, you just pull them up. Now I'm going to remove my brake fluid box. Just go ahead and remove the air filter. As you can see, it's a little dirty. Now, I don't know what this piece is called, guys, but it's held on by 2 clamps. You just want to remove that off. That way you can take off this little plastic cover. So this plastic cover right here is actually the rain guard. It keeps all the rain away from stuff that you don't want water to get into, like your electronics and stuff of sorts. Now guys, what I'm going to be doing right here is actually I'm going to remove all this stuff right here. I'm going to remove my air intake. I'm going to go ahead and, not really remove my power steering pump, but I'm going to get it out the way. So it's just 2 bolts at the front of the car. One on the right, one on the left. And I'm going to use this screwdriver so I can get these little clamps off the side so I can start to take apart the air intake. As you see, guys, it comes straight up. I'm just inspecting it, make sure I got no cuts in it. This right here is the air box. Now what I'm actually doing is untighten these clamps. Take off these 2 bolts. And once I do that, it should come straight off. As you can see, I had a little bit of resistance. So I took the screwdriver and I just pried it just to get it off. So be careful with that because you don't want to get no holes into the rest of your intake, which will cause a vacuum leak. So right here, I'm just going ahead and removing I'm gonna go ahead and put this reservoir right over here and just zip tie it onto my radiator hose just to get it out the way. So guys, the crank position sensor is like directly below. So this is why a lot of people actually had to remove the intake manifold. And guys, I did it straight from above, did not have to remove my intake manifold. I just wiggled my hand in there, I put a socket on there, I put a swivel, and I put an extension on there. Guys, that's all it takes to really get this out. So as you see, I got it. I'm wiggling out the little screw right now. Now, there you go, the screw, guys. It's possible to do this from the top. So what I'm doing right now is I'm actually trying to go back in there. I'm trying to wiggle out the actual crank position sensor. It's in there pretty tight, guys. It actually took me 2 hands to really get in there. One was on the wire, one was like on the piece of the clamp, and I'm like wiggling it loose trying to get it out the best as I can. Now, once I got it out of there, it was still connected to the little to the wire harness. So what I actually had to do was get this little tool pick, and when I did it, I just pry off the little clip. It's just like a little clip, like a little latch it on there. I just use that, I pry it off. Now be careful, guys, because this thing is kind of sharp, but it will do the trick. So here it is, guys. That's the crank position sensor. So I figured out the best way to do it is to put the crank position sensor in first, and then later go ahead and put in the shrew. That's honestly the best way to put it in there, guys, because you try to do both of them at once, you're gonna lose the screw. Which, guys, I lost the screw. Alright guys, I had to drive all the way to Milford, Delaware just to get this little screw. Yeah, man. Only cost me $4. Woo, boy. God, that was an hour there, hour back ride. But I got the screw, I got it back on there, and it took me a little bit of time. It took me about maybe 5-10 minutes to really, really get it on there the way I wanted to. Once I got on there, I just hooked everything back up. So I'm hooking my air intake back together. It come like these little notches on there. So you use that little notch and you just line that right up with your on the manifold, and you just tighten down the clamp. So once you got that together, now you can go ahead and move your reservoir back. Go ahead and put your power steering fluid back. And you know, you just let that sit right there on the bolts. Take your nut, your 2 washers, and just clamp and just tighten it back down. Now I'm going ahead and not remove, my bad guys. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this air filter box back in. It slips right back on. You put the 2 bolts back in, and then you just tighten down your clamp. Now this is the front of the air intake, guys. You just slide it back on. Everything was really like a slide and slide off. And I just take them 2 bolts and just tighten them back down. I just went back to make sure everything was tight. So this right here, guys, you putting the rain guard back on the same way you took it off. You just get it at a little angle, just push it down, and it, guys, it just snaps in. Once you feel that little push in, it's in there. The air filter just sits right back on top. You just put the 6 bolts right back in. Guys, this is actually not that hard of a job. It's pretty simple. Everything is in a tedious spot. I will say that. It is kind of, it's tedious, you know, because you got to go from spot to spot. Everything's in a tight, cramped spot. But it's simple, and I did it from the top, guys. I did not have to remove my manifold. I did not have to go underneath the car. I did not have to lay on my back in the sand or on the gravel. Guys, I did all of this from the top of my car.
Alright guys, moment of truth.
So guys, this is actually where I fried my FRM3. How did I do that? My battery died. So I just went on and jumped in my car, and guys, as you can hear, it comes straight back on. So the crank position sensor worked. So I went by, I checked all my codes. I don't got no more codes, you know, yeah, until I seen this. This is actually where I knew I shorted out my FRM3. It gave me the code CCID231. Guys, check out my next video to see actually when I repaired this and how I repaired this and how much it actually was going to cost me. Remember, like, subscribe, and ring that notification bells, guys, for more videos. Thank you.